Do you ever look out at your backyard and just see a lawn that needs mowing? Maybe a spot for the grill? Well, it wasn't always that way. For generations, the American backyard was the hardest working part of the home, a place of real ingenuity, sustenance, and connection. Let's just say our great-grandmothers would have looked at a sterile patch of green grass and seen a totally wasted opportunity. These aren't just quaint, old-timey habits. They're a blueprint for a more resilient and, frankly, more fulfilling way of life. A life where your home actually produces more than it consumes, where community is built on shared work and generosity, and where kids learn skills that actually connect them to the world. But somewhere between the explosion of supermarkets and the invention of the riding mower, we kind of lost the plot. We traded productivity for convenience, and in doing so, we forgot the simple, powerful traditions that once made our backyards the heart of the home. So today, we're digging them up. Let's start with the big one, the one that's seen the most dramatic shift, the simple kitchen garden. For most of American history, a vegetable patch wasn't a cute hobby. It was a non-negotiable part of life. Colonial settlers relied on these dooryard gardens for their very survival, planting them right outside the door for easy access. And we're not just talking about a few tomato plants. These were complex systems that gave a family vegetables, fruits, and even medicinal herbs. This tradition roared back to life during both World Wars with the Victory Garden movement. The government urged citizens to sow the seeds of victory, and boy, did they deliver. By 1943, an incredible 20 million Victory Gardens were producing over 40% of all the fresh veggies eaten in the entire country. But after the war, as suburbs boomed and supermarkets promised perfect-looking food year-round, the humble garden was tossed aside for what replaced it, the great American lawn. 2. Backyard chickens and small livestock. It might sound a little radical today, but not that long ago, a rooster crowing in the neighborhood wasn't a reason to call the homeowners association. It was just the sound of morning. Keeping a small flock of chickens for fresh eggs was an incredibly common practice. And it didn't stop there. Plenty of families raised rabbits for meat, or even kept a goat for fresh milk. These animals were the original recycling crew, turning kitchen scraps and garden weeds into priceless resources: eggs, protein, and of course, amazing manure for the garden. Kids were always involved, collecting eggs or feeding the animals. It taught them a real sense of responsibility and a gut-level understanding of where food actually comes from. This wasn't just for people way out in the country. It was a cornerstone of self-sufficient living, even on a small suburban lot. 3. Seed saving and sharing. Before glossy seed catalogs and corporate giants owned the market, gardeners were also seed keepers. At the end of every season, families would carefully choose and save seeds from their best plants, the healthiest, the tastiest, the most productive ones. This wasn't just about saving a few bucks. It was about building resilience. Over generations, these saved seeds would adapt to the specific soil and climate of that one backyard, creating unique heirloom varieties you couldn't find anywhere else. But the magic didn't stop at the garden gate. Seed saving was a deeply communal act. Neighbors swapped their prize bean seeds for their friends' hardy squash seeds, strengthening not just their gardens, but their friendships. It was a powerful, decentralized food system built on trust, a far cry from the fragile monocultures we often rely on today. 4. Composting and soil building. Today, we call it organic waste and pay to have it hauled away in a special bin. Our ancestors called it future food and just tossed it in a pile out back. The compost pile was the unsung hero of the traditional yard. Every kitchen had a pail for vegetable peels, eggshells, and coffee grounds. This so-called waste was mixed with fallen leaves, grass clippings, and manure from the chickens to create a rich, black gold that went right back into the garden. It was a perfect closed-loop system where nothing was ever wasted. The know-how of what to add and when to turn the pile was passed down from parent to child, a hands-on lesson in how death fuels new life. It was a simple, powerful way to build fertility from the ground up. Enjoying this trip down memory lane? If you're loving these old-school backyard skills, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss part 2. More forgotten traditions are just around the corner.
See you next time.